Hello, everyone. I'm going to start this speech off by asking every one of you to do a little imagining. I want you to imagine a world where you go to bed every night and the only thing on your mind is where your next meal is going to come from. I want you to imagine a world where your mouth is so dry from not having access to fresh water that you can barely speak. I want you to imagine a world where you do not have the means to send your children to school so they can get the rightful education they deserve. I want you to imagine a world where your basic health needs aren't met and the only thing you can do about it is pray to God for change. I want you to imagine. Today, more than 500 million people still lives in extreme poverty and are struggling to fulfill even the most basic needs to have a good and healthy life. To put that into perspective, it's nearly 8% of the world's entire population that lives in poverty and approximately 25,000 children that die every day as a result. In 2005, Nelson Mandela held a speech named Make Poverty History. Here, he talked about the changes that needed to be made in society to make poverty a part of history instead of a sad and tragic part of reality. In his speech, he said, "Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that great generation. Yet, we stand here 14 years later, and surely changes have been made, but the reality is that today there is still a large number of people that lives in poverty, and it's up to us to make some drastic changes to ensure that his words will be taken seriously, and this generation will be the last to have any kinds of poverty." I might be biased, but I think it's an alarming fact that we live in a world and in a so-called modern society when there are still hundreds of thousands of families living for under $2 a day in extreme poverty. And on the other hand, the richest 1% of the upper class has more money than the entirety of the whole human civilization. And some of the most powerful people have enough money to end all of poverty in the world with just a snap of their fingers. Now, I understand some of you might be confused about how we can reach this goal as quickly as possible, and quite frankly, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be done overnight. It's a common goal we need to be united internationally to solve. I know we already do many things to try to end poverty. For instance, we held a lot of charity events, and many support organizations are helping in on the matter, which is great. It just needs to be done on an even larger scale. Another important key part of ending poverty is education. We simply need to educate these people. Because if you think about it, if we just use our money on educating these people in the poorest countries such as Nigeria and Congo, instead of just giving them food, we can help them eventually being intellectually fit enough to be able to build up their own well-functioning states and economies, which hopefully will end the poverty that causes the dehumanizing states their countries are in. So here, today, I'm going to ask every single one of you to look deep into yourself and ask the questions. What would I do if I was in that situation? What would I do if I couldn't send my children to school? What would I do if I wasn't assured there was going to be any food or water available? Because there's really nothing you can do except having faith that change will happen before it's too late. So join in on the fight for equality before even more lives are lost in the grasp of poverty, and if not for yourself, then for humanity. Thank you for your attention.